What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update. A few bits and pieces in terms of signings to get through, but let's start off with the coaching staff under Ange Postecoglou, as Dan Kilpatrick says that Tottenham are set to offer Ryan Mason a coaching role under Ange Postecoglou, but Ryan does have offers from 2 championship clubs, a European club and 1 club from the Middle East as well.
Is that as manager or as coach?
I'm guessing as manager, but it doesn't specify.
Yeah, it would be interesting if they are manager jobs. I think he's just got to take them and start building his managerial portfolio. Still at 31, has he really shown enough in his time at Tottenham to really bag a championship job? I mean, I'd be quite surprised if they'd been willing to appoint him as manager, but maybe they have seen enough in his managerial acumen to think that he could actually be a really successful championship manager right now. If I was him, and let's assume they're not managerial jobs, let's assume they're coaching jobs, I actually wouldn't consider staying at Spurs, because Postecoglou's got quite a good record when it comes to his assistants becoming managers. And I think in Japan and in Australia, when he left, his assistants stepped in and they went on to win the league as well. So maybe Postecoglou could be a very good manager to learn off for Ryan Mason as a coach, and they could add to his armoury, because he's had Mourinho and Conte, but they're very different kind of managers to Postecoglou. So maybe having that bit as well could help him.
And I also feel like the way Ange wants to play is much more in line with the way Mason wants to play as well, whereas Conte and Mourinho are just not the way Mason wants to play. He wants to play free-flowing, attacking football like the Spurs DNA is, and he wants to play kind of a similar way that Pochettino played at Spurs.
Also, from Ryan Mason's point of view, I understand he's hungry and he ended his career early, so he's desperate to get into management, but I wouldn't rush into it. I wouldn't rush into becoming a full-time manager, even though he probably sees himself as being ready and wants to make that next step now. And I know there are people like Nagelsmann who were able to do it in their late 20s, but these guys are 1 in a million. I think I wouldn't rush into being a manager yet. I'd try and get as much experience as possible before making that step. But obviously, if he gets a job, it might be hard to turn it down.
Yeah, I get that, but I kind of agree with you. I do think he should wait. I think it'll be good for him and good for Ange as well to have him around, someone who knows the club, breathes the club, and you know how Ange loves to get involved with the fans and talk the fans' language, and I think Ryan Mason can help him do that. So I think it would be good, in my opinion, if Ryan Mason stayed on with Ange. Let's move on to the next topics. It's on John Kennedy, not the old president, no, the Celtic assistant manager. Stephen McGowan, Scottish Daily Mail, says that John Kennedy has told Celtic that he wants to leave Celtic and join Ange Postecoglou at Tottenham.
Yeah, which is interesting, because apparently Postecoglou's kind of been known to travel solo. He doesn't usually take his assistants with him, as we said previously, his assistants usually have a good record of stepping in for him in his old jobs and doing well. Clearly Celtic don't want to appoint him as first team manager, and maybe a bit of continuity would help him. I mean, I can't speak to how good I think he is an assistant manager. I don't really know much about him, but it would be interesting to have his first kind of assistant join him, would be at Tottenham, would be interesting.
Yeah, it would actually signal to me that he really rates him and really wants to keep working with him. So I think it can only be a good thing, in my opinion, to be honest. Next up, we're going to talk about Harry Kane. Marca are reporting that Real Madrid are ready to accelerate their move for Harry Kane. Madrid are going to offer 80 million euros, and Tottenham have given the okay to join Los Blancos. But the Athletic are claiming that Bayern Munich are still hopeful that Harry Kane could join them this summer.
I don't think there's any. I don't see him going to Bayern. When it comes to Madrid, they have now just completed that move for Bellingham, so that's 100 million off their transfer kitty. But apparently, there's rumours they could have up to 300 million to spend. So, if there is that kind of budget, I can see Kane fitting into that budget still. Do you reckon, because Postecoglou doesn't officially start until the 1st of July, do you reckon any decisions are made, like when it comes to someone like Kane before then?
I think even though he doesn't officially start, I think he has started, to be honest. I think
he's on holiday at the moment.
Yeah, but I think as soon as he's back, I think those talks will start happening. And even when he's away, I think maybe some phone calls will be taking place. But It'll be interesting because I think like the decision for Harry Kane to leave, because if he is going to leave this summer, it's either this summer or next summer, unless Ange can convince him to sign that contract. I think Ange will only want players here that desperately want to be here and can see a future here. And if Harry Kane doesn't see a future here, I think Postecoglou will want to move him on and get the money in.
Yeah, I agree. He's that kind of character. He's done it before with other players. If there's any doubt in your mind about wanting to be here, then it's best to leave. Obviously, we don't really know. I mean, we're all assuming that there is doubt in Kane's mind because it's only logical to assume that he will want to leave. Apparently, we also have heard that he's less kind of determined to leave than he has been previously. Maybe because he knows in a year's time he's going to be free to leave anyway.
That's the exact situation.
So
yeah.
maybe that's why. But yeah, I mean, I still think Madrid move makes a lot of sense. But I feel like until Postecoglou's like at the training ground and starting to work with players, I guess I don't think we'll get a proper decision whether we're going to make the deal happen. And especially with Levy liking to drag out deals, I wouldn't be surprised if this one drags on for a long time. But I do see Madrid going hard for Harry Kane. I really do.
If Harry Kane does move to Madrid, does he win the Ballon d'Or in the next few years?
Well, if Mbappe is going to stay at PSG for the next couple of years, then I think he's got a very good chance. Yeah, I'm going to back him to do it.
I think he will as well. If he wins the Champions League and La Liga in the same year and he's like very central, which most probably he will be, I think he's got a big chance of the Ballon d'Or, especially if England go far in the World Cup year as well. So, look, as much as I don't want to see Harry Kane leave, it would be unbelievable to see him win the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, just not a Tottenham, like Modric, just not a Tottenham.
Yeah. Let's talk about Harry Maguire now. The name nobody wants to hear is James Ollie from ESPN says that Tottenham have been offered the chance to sign Harry Maguire this summer. However, his wages is viewed as a potential stumbling block to a deal being possible. He currently earns 190 grand a week at Manchester United.
It doesn't make any sense to stump up that kind of money for what you're getting, for me. None of it makes sense. And to be fair, a lot of the reports have just been like, he's been offered, there are interest, Tottenham are exploring. There's no, apart from there was one report saying that Postecoglou does want him. Like, no other reports are really actually firming that Tottenham actually want him. Again, this one is like he's going to be offered the chance to join Tottenham. So it doesn't sound like is there any real interest in Spurs.
It's probably just from Man United side, just trying to tout him out. But I just can't, like, if under Conte or under Jose Mourinho, I could kind of understand it in like a super defensive team in a back three system. I think he could kind of work in that system. But in an Ange Postecoglou high line, four at the back, it just doesn't make sense.
No. I think on the ball, he's actually underrated and it could work. But off the ball, it's just there's no point in having him there. He's just exactly the opposite kind of centre back you want in a Postecoglou system when you're trying to throw caution to the wind. He's just going to get caught out. Yeah.
Next up, we're going to talk about Frank Kessie. Dario RS is saying that Tottenham could join the race for Frank Kessie. He is open to leaving Barcelona this summer. I mean, how often have we heard that? Yeah. Ever since he's joined Barcelona, all we've heard is Tottenham could join the race for Frank Kessie. He's open to leaving Barcelona.
Again, I like Kessie and I think he's quality. Do I think necessarily we need him? Because I don't think in Postecoglou's system, I do think he could have a role, but we have players who currently do his role. So I don't see him being a complete necessity right now. Would he be an upgrade? You can probably say yes on what we have. So on that sense, you could say it's worth it. But we've got so many priorities right now. Spending money on Kessie, you can only think it would have to be money that would take away from other players because he's going to be a significant amount of money probably if we do sign him. So I would, unless it's like a late opportunity in the window when we got the other stuff done, I wouldn't kind of go for this right now.
Unless Barcelona are desperate for cash and we could get him at a cut price deal. That's the only way. Yeah, that's the only way I can see it happening, to be honest. Yeah. Let's talk about Aymeric Laporte now. 90-minute claiming that Manchester City's Aymeric Laporte is high up on Spurs' transfer shortlist, and this is the guy that we should be going all out to sign. I think he would be great alongside Christian Romero in a back four.
I actually don't think. I think he's really good, and he would be a massive, massive upgrade on what we have. I think in a weird way, he's actually a player who, in the short term, would give us like a lot of advantages and would see a big upgrade. But as a long-term player in that system, I don't know if he's like strong or quick or strong enough to play how aggressive we want to play. I think that's part of the reason why he's been dropped by Man City and in place of other stronger, faster defenders, because as much as he's brilliant on the ball, he's really good at passing out the back. When it comes to like on the breakaways, he actually does get caught out quite a bit because he's not the quickest defender.
True.
I think strength-wise he's okay, but he's like not like the strongest. But he's okay strength-wise, but he's actually fairly slow. So I think I think if you get an opportunity to sign someone like Laporte, I think you take it. But I actually think it could be a case of in 2 or 3 years' time, you're probably looking to upgrade him again or find a better profile, if you know what I mean. But he is obviously a very good centre-back.
I get that, but like in the situation that we're in right now, and maybe the players and the kind of calibre that we can attract, if Laporte is open to joining Tottenham, you go and get him because it's such an upgrade on what we have. I mean, none of our centre-backs, maybe bar Christian Rera aside, are not even like fit enough to lick his boots, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
So you have to go get him, in my opinion.
I want him and maybe a younger, like faster centre-back.
Evan Ndika, go get it done. Free transfer. Like, why are we not all over that? It makes no sense.
Join our shit show.
Probably Mourinho is like, oh, you got an offer from Tottenham now. You don't want to go there.
Let me tell you about Tottenham. 6 days before the final.
Do you want to get sold 6 days for a cup final? Don't go to Tottenham. Anyway, let's finish up with James Maddison. 90 Min also claiming that Ange Postecoglou has approved Tottenham's pursuit of James Maddison. I'm sure he has. Yeah. But unfortunately, I think he might be going to Newcastle.
Look, I do think like it's not a foregone conclusion. I do think maybe we could sway him. I think it is unlikely given the trajectories of the club. So maybe Postecoglou can convince him if he come. Like, I do think Maddison's a type of. I get the feeling from him. He's a type of character who probably wants to be in London. I don't know why. I just get that feeling off him. And if he does, and let's say Arsenal don't want him because of Odegaard, then maybe we do have a shot at like convincing him under Postecoglou to come and join us. If we can convince him that we are going to be heading in the right direction, we are going to be playing a more attacking style of football. There's a clear space for him in the team in that attacking midfield spot. So I think if we can match what Newcastle are going to pay him, which would be difficult, then maybe we do have a shot of convincing him to come to us.
I don't buy all this narrative that goes around saying if you're not in Champions League, you can't attract big players. It's all about selling a project to them. And that's what we're at. We're at the start of a project right now. And if we can sell the project to James Maddison, I think like it is very likely we could sign him. But I think Newcastle are just further along in that project at the moment, and they're just looking really good. So I think both have compelling arguments and both have compelling projects to sell. It's just Newcastle that much further along. They are at the moment. That's the thing.
But they jumped ahead, and maybe you can convince them, well, they jumped. Maybe we can jump ahead next season as well.
It's going to be a hard sell.
Yeah, it will be a hard sell. But it's not impossible.
No, it's not. But yeah, he definitely wants to join the flashing lights of London, James Maddison. Come along, don't you worry about that.
The other thing is, we do get in a bidding war with Newcastle. Are we going to be able to compete? That's the thing.
Yeah, probably not. But look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding any of the news stories we brought to you today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.